The silence of space was shattered in an instant. Deep within the uncharted sector of the Andromeda expanse, a small human outpost floated quietly among the stars. Its purpose was simple: to monitor nearby wormholes and relay data back to Earth. It was meant to be a quiet, almost invisible post, forgotten by most civilizations. But tonight, the stars would remember it. The first sign of trouble was subtle. Sensors flickered, detecting an anomaly approaching at impossible speed. Lieutenant Cale Morgan, one of the Outpost's senior officers, leaned over the console, eyes narrowing. "Sensors are picking something massive and fast," he muttered. His voice, steady yet tense, carried across the empty corridors. The others exchanged nervous glances. They had been trained for emergencies, but nothing had prepared them for this. Suddenly, the darkness outside erupted in fire. Alien warships, sleek and black, appeared from hyperspace, their energy cores glowing like malevolent stars. Cale's heart raced as he realized the truth: they had been hunted. "Shields up. All turrets ready," he ordered, his voice slicing through panic. The crew scrambled to their stations, but the alien strike was precise. Weapons fired, but their projectiles barely grazed the attackers. The aliens moved with terrifying coordination, surrounding the outpost in a deadly embrace. The outpost was no match for such advanced technology. Explosions rocked the station as sections of its structure were ripped apart. Alarms screamed. Smoke filled the corridors, and warning lights painted the walls in crimson. Cale's training kept him focused, issuing commands to his team while dodging falling debris. Through the chaos, he caught sight of the attackers' symbols, strange glyphs that glowed with a cold, eerie light. This was not a random raid. It was calculated. Earth had enemies in the shadows of the galaxy, enemies who underestimated humanity's resolve. Cale gritted his teeth. "They'll regret this," he whispered, almost to himself, but his words carried a weight of promise. In the control room, the communication officer, Alara Voss, tried desperately to send a distress signal to Earth. "They're jamming our transmissions," she shouted. Cale's fists clenched. They had no backup, no immediate reinforcements, just a few dozen humans against an armada that could crush worlds. Yet, despite the fear gnawing at him, Cale felt a spark of defiance. Humanity had survived countless threats before. They would survive this too. The aliens breached the outer hull, forcing their way into the outpost. Marines fired from the corridors, holding them back, but the intruders were relentless. Every time one fell, two more took its place. Cale knew they couldn't hold much longer. He turned to the crew. "Evacuate to the escape pods. Take what you can, but don't stop to fight for pride. We live to strike back." Panic surged, but the crew followed orders. Amid explosions and falling debris, they ran toward the pods, hearts pounding. Cale stayed behind, covering their retreat. His blaster fired relentlessly, each shot precise, buying precious seconds. He glanced at the massive viewport, where the alien fleet hovered like predators circling their prey. The outpost was crumbling, its walls torn to shreds. And yet, Cale noticed something strange. The aliens paused, as if sensing something beyond the station, something they had not anticipated. Earth. Far across the galaxy, on the homeworld itself, the faintest ripple of energy alerted the human high command. Something ancient, something deadly, stirred within humanity's arsenal. The attacks on the outpost were no longer just a distant skirmish, they had triggered a reaction, one that could not be stopped. Weapons long hidden, ships long dormant, all began to stir. Humanity's response was not just firepower. It was a warning. The galaxy had underestimated them, and the cost of that mistake would soon be revealed. Back at the outpost, Cale fought on, knowing his crew had escaped. Explosions tore through the corridors, and the station shuddered as if it were alive, crying under the weight of destruction. But in that moment, Cale felt no fear, only resolve. They had been attacked, humiliated, yet the seeds of revenge had already been planted. Humanity's retaliation would be swift, devastating, and absolute. As the last escape pod launched, Cale sent a final message, encoded with an urgent warning: they struck a human outpost. Earth knows. Prepare for retaliation. The words were simple, but the meaning was clear. No one who dared harm humanity would escape unscathed. Somewhere in the darkness of space, alien commanders would soon discover that they had awoken a force far greater than they imagined. And in that moment, the stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, waiting for the storm that was coming. Humanity had been attacked. Humanity would strike back. And the galaxy would never forget the day it underestimated them. The escape pod streaked through the void, leaving the shattered outpost behind in a trail of fire and debris. Lieutenant Cale Morgan's heart pounded, but he did not rest. Each pod carried vital intelligence, crew members, and a spark of humanity's defiance. Cale watched the alien fleet linger near the ruins, like vultures savoring a feast. But he knew the galaxy had underestimated humans once, and they would regret it. On board his pod, Cale activated a secure channel to Earth. The signal was weak, but enough to reach the High Command. "This is Lieutenant Morgan. The outpost is lost. The aliens, they came prepared, faster than anything we've encountered. They thought they could break us with fear. They were wrong." The reply was immediate, yet calm. Admiral Tessa Crow's voice carried through the pod's speakers. "Morgan, we've been monitoring. You triggered a protocol that has been dormant for centuries. Humanity does not forgive such attacks. Prepare yourselves, retaliation is not just coming. It is already on its way." Cale frowned. Centuries-old protocol? What could Earth possibly have hidden? But before he could ask, the pod's sensors flared red. Alien ships had detected them, and they were closing in fast. "Everyone, brace yourselves," Cale shouted. Blasters were ready, hearts beating as they raced through the dark corridors of the pod. The first alien attack hit. Energy beams sliced across the void, scorching the pod's outer hull. Sparks erupted, alarms screamed, and the pod shuddered violently. Cale fired at the approaching enemy fighters, each shot precise, each maneuver calculated. Still, the aliens pressed relentlessly, confident that humanity was cornered. Then it happened. A flash brighter than any star appeared in the distance. The alien fleet faltered, their ships twisting and jerking as if an invisible hand had struck them. Cale's jaw tightened. It was the first sign. The retaliation had begun, but not from his outpost, not yet from Earth's surface. Something far older, something far deadlier, had awakened. Inside the pod, Elara Voss stared at the display, eyes wide. "Cale, look." Sensors show a massive energy buildup near the outer rim of the system. It's moving towards the aliens. Cale's hands clenched around the controls. "Humans never show all their cards," he muttered. The alien ships scrambled, their attacks becoming frantic. The calm, calculated predators now faced something they could not predict. Their confidence was cracking. Thousands of light-years away, on Earth, the High Command watched the transmissions from the outpost. Ships long hidden, weapons long dormant, systems kept secret from the galaxy, all began to stir. Humanity's retaliation was not just firepower. It was strategy, precision, and a history of survival written in the scars of countless wars. Back in the escape pod, Cale saw it, a shadow passing through the stars. A human warship, massive beyond imagination, emerged from a cloaked jump point. Its hull shimmered like liquid steel, energy coils glowing along its sides. The aliens hesitated. They had never seen anything like it. Cale's voice was steady despite the chaos. "Hold your fire. Let them see what humanity brings." The crew followed his orders, guns trained, hearts ready. And then, the human warship unleashed a pulse of energy that tore through the alien formation. Ships exploded, caught in waves of power they could not comprehend. The outpost's destruction had been a spark, and now the flame was spreading. Alien commanders barked orders, but confusion reigned. They had believed humans were weak, predictable, vulnerable. They were discovering, too late, that every strike against humanity was a trigger, a call to arms that would awaken forces beyond their reckoning. Cale exhaled slowly, watching the destruction unfold. The retaliation was precise, merciless, unstoppable. And as the alien fleet scattered, he realized something crucial. The galaxy had underestimated humans, and that mistake would cost worlds. The pod crew cheered silently, but Kale knew this was only the beginning. The aliens had struck first, believing themselves to be hunters. Now, they were the hunted. Humanity's answer was not just revenge. It was a message: strike at us, and your very existence could be erased. And as the human warship advanced, leaving trails of devastation behind, Kale whispered to himself, this is what they should have feared from the start. The galaxy would never be the same again. The galaxy trembled as the first wave of human retaliation tore through the darkness. Lieutenant Kale Morgan's pod kept pace with the massive warship, watching in awe as it carved a path of destruction among the alien fleet. The attackers had believed themselves untouchable, but now their arrogance was met with precision, power, and a fury they could not comprehend. From the command deck of the warship, Captain Aria Voss observed the chaos through massive viewport panels. Her voice cut through the hum of engines and distant explosions. Target the lead ships. Do not let them regroup. Show them the cost of striking humanity. Every officer moved with meticulous coordination, their actions a symphony of deadly intent. Humans had turned every disadvantage into a weapon, every attack into an opportunity. Kale's pod weaved between debris and fleeing alien fighters, the stars around them alive with fire and light. He could see the aliens' panic mounting, their formations crumbling, their confidence dissolving into chaos. Ships that had once seemed invincible now twisted in futile maneuvers, trying to escape a force they had barely recognized. On board the warship, human engineers channeled energy into massive plasma cannons. Shields strengthened, weapons calibrated, and defensive drones activated in perfect synchronization. Earth had prepared for this for decades, hiding its most lethal arsenal in plain sight. This was no ordinary retaliation, it was humanity's answer to centuries of underestimation. Kale's communicator buzzed. It was Alara Voss from the pod. Lieutenant, the aliens are trying to regroup near the asteroid field. They're using it as cover. Kale's eyes narrowed. Asteroid fields had never been an obstacle for humans, they were a playground for tactical genius. Plot an intercept course. Let's meet them where they think they're safe, he ordered. As they approached the field, the alien fleet was already there, scrambling to set ambushes among massive floating rocks. They believed their experience and superior numbers would overwhelm the humans. But the warship moved like a shadow among the asteroids, drones scanning for enemy positions with terrifying efficiency. Within moments, a single salvo of plasma tore through the closest alien ships, igniting explosions that lit the dark void like a miniature supernova. Kale felt a thrill he had not experienced in years of service. This was more than survival. This was dominance. Every maneuver, every shot, every strategy they employed turned the tide further in humanity's favor. The aliens were skilled, but they were predictable, and humans had learned to anticipate the unpredictable. Suddenly, the alien command ship emitted a signal, a desperate plea for reinforcements. Kale and the warship's crew exchanged glances. It was too late. Humanity had already turned the battlefield into a cage, leaving no escape, no mercy. Energy waves pulsed from the human warship, disabling alien engines and cutting communications. Their fleet became fragmented, scattered, and terrified. Captain Aria Voss leaned over the console. Kale, this is only the beginning. Humanity will not forgive. We strike to ensure no other outpost, no other planet, suffers what happened to the first. We are the storm they awakened. Her words were calm, but every syllable carried the weight of unyielding resolve. Kale's pod maneuvered closer, observing the destruction. Alien ships exploded in cascading fire, some colliding with asteroids, others drifting powerless into the void. He whispered under his breath. They struck first. We finish it. Humanity was no longer on the defensive. The hunters had become the hunted, and the prey had become the predator. Through the chaos, Kale noticed something chilling. The aliens were not just retreating, they were trying to call for distant allies. Another wave could arrive at any moment. But humanity had prepared for that too. The warship released a series of automated drones, intercepting any incoming ships long before they could reach the battle zone. It was precision, patience, and ruthless efficiency, the hallmarks of human warfare. The stars glowed with destruction as humanity's retaliation expanded, stretching across light years. The alien fleet, once proud and unstoppable, was now in full retreat, leaving trails of burning wreckage. Kale and the crew watched silently, knowing that what they had witnessed was the first act of a war the galaxy would never forget. As the final alien ship exploded, Kale felt a surge of pride and fear. Pride for the humans who had survived and fought back. Fear of what came next. The galaxy would not sit idle. But one truth remained undeniable: humanity had sent a clear message. Strike at us, and the cost will be absolute. And somewhere, deep in the remnants of the alien home systems, commanders would remember the outpost, the sparks of defiance, and the unstoppable force that humanity had unleashed. The retaliation was only beginning, and the galaxy would learn, painfully, that underestimating humans was the gravest mistake any civilization could make. The remnants of the alien fleet fled through the void, battered, broken, and terrified. But the humans were relentless. Lieutenant Kale Morgan's pod raced alongside the massive human warship, tracking every ship, every movement. They would not allow their enemies to recover. The attack on the outpost had awakened a force no civilization could ignore. From orbit above the alien homeworld, Captain Arya Voss observed the planet through reinforced glass. Cities once gleaming with alien technology were now vulnerable. "Target their command centers," she ordered. "We do not destroy without purpose. We dismantle their power and show them that no attack on humanity is without consequence." Kale's pod followed automated drones that scouted ahead, mapping the planet's defenses with unmatched precision. Energy pulses from the human warship disabled orbital shields and communication satellites. The aliens scrambled, attempting desperate countermeasures, but every attempt was met with calculated force. Humans had prepared for centuries, and now the galaxy saw the result. On the planet's surface, alien leaders realized their mistake too late. Panic spread among the population. Evacuation orders were chaotic and inefficient. Kale watched from his pod as the human warship unleashed a synchronized strike, missiles and plasma beams cutting through the atmosphere with surgical precision. Entire military bases were neutralized before a single alien response could reach them. "Elara, focus on the planetary grid," Kale said. "Disable power to their defense systems. Let them see how fragile they truly are." Elara's hands flew across the controls, her eyes reflecting the explosions below. In moments, critical systems went offline. Alien communication faltered, their response slowed, and fear spread like wildfire. High above, Captain Voss issued the next order. "Prepare orbital containment zones. Any attempt to flee, intercept. No one escapes humanity's reach." Within minutes, alien escape pods were intercepted, their occupants captured or destroyed. The human strategy was clear: retaliation was not only for survival, it was a lesson in absolute deterrence. Kale's pod hovered over the planet, observing the chaos. Alien forces, once confident, now struggled to coordinate. They underestimated humans, assuming the destruction of a single outpost would be a simple victory. They had not counted on centuries of preparation, on hidden fleets, or on the human instinct to survive and strike back with overwhelming precision. From the warship, Captain Voss spoke again, her voice calm yet commanding. "This is the message: humanity does not forgive. Humanity does not forget. Strike at us, and your worlds will feel the consequences." Each word resonated across communications channels, reaching even those who had fled into deep space. The humans were not merely retaliating, they were sending a warning to the entire galaxy. Kale glanced at the remaining alien fleets. Some ships still fought, desperate and reckless, but the human tactics were too coordinated. Drone swarms intercepted attacks, while warship batteries obliterated strategic targets. Alien pilots, skilled though they were, found themselves outmatched at every turn. The retaliation was complete, ruthless, and methodical. As the day wore on, the alien planet's defenses crumbled. Explosions marked the destruction of military facilities, communications hubs, and strategic installations. Panic turned to chaos, chaos into surrender. Humanity's message was simple and terrifying. Any aggression against them would be met with overwhelming force. Kale felt a mix of exhaustion and grim satisfaction. The outpost had been lost, but its sacrifice had triggered an unstoppable chain of events. Humanity had not only avenged itself, they had displayed its power in a way that the galaxy would never forget. Somewhere in the chaos, alien commanders realized their civilization's mistake. They had underestimated humans, thinking them fragile, predictable, and weak. Now they faced a truth they could never ignore. Humanity's retaliation was swift, precise, and merciless. The galaxy had learned a lesson in fear, and it had come from a species they had long dismissed. Kale transmitted a final message to Earth before returning to the warship. Retaliation complete. Target neutralized. Humanity has spoken. The words were simple, but their meaning resonated across light years. The galaxy would remember. And far beyond, among distant stars, civilizations that had only observed humanity from afar would whisper warnings to each other. Underestimating humans was no longer an option. Strike at them, and the price would be total annihilation. The storm had arrived, and it carried the full weight of Earth's wrath. The shattered alien fleets regrouped far from their homeworld, battered, humiliated, and burning with rage. Their leaders convened in secret, a council of fear and desperation. Every surviving commander knew the truth. Earth's retaliation had been devastating, surgical, and utterly merciless. They could no longer ignore the humans. On board a damaged alien command ship, Admiral Rathak slammed his clawed hand on the console. "We underestimated them," he roared, his voice echoing through the metal corridors. "Our fleets are scattered, our defenses shattered, and they strike faster than we can react. We cannot survive like this." Alien officers looked to each other, wide-eyed, realizing that humanity's reach was not just reactive, it was proactive, precise, and terrifying. Meanwhile, in the void near the planet, Lieutenant Kale Morgan monitored the remaining alien movements from his pod. Every escape route was under surveillance. Every weak point had been identified. Humans did not simply fight, they predicted, adapted, and executed with unmatched efficiency. Kale's jaw tightened. They want one last stand. Let's show them why they should never have attacked. From orbit, Captain Arya Voss directed the warship's weapons with cold precision. Deploy the intercept drones. Engage their lead ships. Let them feel the cost of underestimating humanity. Waves of automated drones surged forward, intercepting alien fighters and dismantling their formations. The remaining alien vessels tried to regroup, but their coordination faltered under the relentless assault. Below, the alien leaders on their command ship watched in horror. Every defensive measure they had relied on was neutralized in seconds. Communications failed, engines faltered, and panic spread among their crews. Humanity's war machines were not just powerful, they were unstoppable. The aliens realized they had been hunted, not merely fought. Kale's pod weaved through the debris of destroyed ships, watching the battle unfold. He could see alien pilots abandoning their posts, attempting escape, but the humans anticipated every move. Missile swarms intercepted stragglers, while plasma cannons obliterated command vessels. The aliens' desperation grew with every passing moment. High above, Captain Voss issued her next command. Target the escape corridors. Leave no one behind. Humanity does not forgive, and we do not forget. The warship unleashed a wave of concentrated energy, cutting off any possible retreat. Alien ships collided with each other, engines failing, systems crashing. Their counterattack, meant to be decisive, was reduced to chaos and ruin. Kale could feel the tension in his crew. They had survived countless skirmishes, but this was different. Humanity had become more than just a species, they were a force that commanded fear across the stars. The aliens' final desperate push had failed, and the humans' dominance was absolute. From the command deck, Arya Voss watched as the alien command ship signaled surrender. Their pride was shattered, their fleets broken. Humanity had struck with precision, leaving no doubt of its strength. "Send the message," she ordered. "Let them know that any attack on Earth, any strike at our outposts, will meet total annihilation. Humanity will protect itself at any cost." Kale transmitted a final report. All enemy forces neutralized or retreating. Counterattack failed. Humans have asserted control. Message sent. His words were calm, but the weight of the victory hung heavy in the air. The galaxy had witnessed the humans' response to aggression, and the consequences were clear. Even as the dust of battle settled among the stars, whispers spread throughout alien civilizations. They spoke of humans who could strike across light years with surgical precision. They spoke of warships that moved like shadows, weapons that shattered entire fleets, and strategy that anticipated every move. They feared what they had awakened, and they knew one thing for certain: humans would never be underestimated again. Kale gazed at the stars, now littered with debris and fire from the defeated fleets. He understood the truth: humanity had survived the attack, yes, but they had done more than survive. They had sent a warning to the galaxy. Any who dared strike again would face Earth's wrath, swift, precise, and merciless. And somewhere, in the deepest reaches of space, alien commanders shivered at the thought. Humanity was not merely a planet. Humanity was a storm, unstoppable, unyielding, and destined to dominate anyone who dared oppose it. The alien homeworld lay in chaos. Smoke rose from shattered cities, energy grids flickered, and military installations had been reduced to ruins. Every surviving alien ship hovered above, hesitant, battered, and terrified. But humanity was not finished. Lieutenant Kale Morgan's pod maneuvered alongside the colossal human warship, the silent predators of the void. From the bridge, Captain Arya Voss surveyed the battlefield with cold precision. "This is the final phase," she said, her voice calm but resolute. "Their fleets are scattered, their defenses crippled. Prepare the orbital bombardment. Humanity does not simply win, it ensures no repeat of this mistake." Kale and his crew watched in awe as massive energy cannons charged, their coils glowing with blinding intensity. The warship's shields flickered in rhythm with the pulsing power, and the stars themselves seemed to tremble. Alien commanders scrambled to mount a defense, but their weapons failed, systems overloaded, and communication was impossible. "Lieutenant, initiate planetary targeting," Captain Voss ordered. Kale's fingers moved swiftly, calculating trajectories, adjusting firepower, and locking onto key strategic points across the alien planet. Every missile, every plasma beam, every strike was precise, surgical, and utterly devastating. This was not revenge, it was justice, delivered with the cold efficiency that only humans could command. On the surface, alien populations panicked. Civilians fled, soldiers abandoned posts, and leaders shouted in desperation, but nothing could halt the inevitable. Human drones swept through escape corridors, intercepting pods, disabling engines, and neutralizing any attempt at escape. The aliens' final defenses crumbled under the relentless onslaught. Kale watched as the first wave of orbital bombardment struck. Energy beams tore through command centers, military bases, and power grids. Explosions ripped the surface apart, sending plumes of fire and debris into the thin atmosphere. The alien planet shook under the weight of humanity's wrath, a clear demonstration of power that no species could ignore. "Focus on their command nodes," Kale instructed. "Cut communications, neutralize leadership, and end this war." Every order was executed flawlessly. Alien ships in orbit attempted a desperate counterattack, but the warship's shields held firm. Automated drones intercepted their maneuvers, tearing apart vessels with lethal precision. From the bridge, Captain Voss issued the final command. "Prepare the planetary annihilation strike. Humanity does not threaten lightly, it ends threats entirely." Kale's heart pounded, knowing the full weight of the mission. Yet, he felt no hesitation. The aliens had struck first, attempting to destroy a small human outpost. Now, their civilization would face the consequences. The energy cannons fired simultaneously. Brilliant beams of concentrated power lanced through the planet's atmosphere, exploding in devastating bursts. Alien cities were obliterated, military bases vaporized, and the planet's defenses utterly dismantled. Panic became chaos, chaos became surrender, and surrender became extinction. Kale and his crew watched silently as the alien homeworld burned, realizing the magnitude of humanity's response. The humans had not only survived, they had delivered a message across the galaxy. Strike at humanity, and your world itself may be erased. Even as the last alien vessels fled into deep space, the devastation was complete. Humanity's retaliation was total, precise, and merciless. Across the stars, whispers would spread among alien civilizations about a species that could destroy entire planets in response to a single attack. Humanity had proven it was not merely a planet, it was a force of nature. Kale transmitted the final report to Earth. Target neutralized. Planetary strike complete. Alien threat ended. Humanity has asserted dominance. Message delivered. His words were simple, yet the meaning was absolute. No one would forget the day Earth struck back. Captain Voss turned to her officers. This is only the beginning. The galaxy will remember who commands the stars. Kale looked at the stars, now calm once more, littered with debris from destroyed fleets, and understood the truth. Humanity had survived, retaliated, and dominated. The storm they had unleashed would echo through the galaxy for centuries. Somewhere, among the scattered survivors of the alien race, commanders whispered fearfully. They had learned a lesson too late. Humanity was not just another species. Humanity was unstoppable. Humanity was wrath incarnate. And the stars themselves had become a testament to their power. The galaxy would never challenge Earth again. The galaxy was silent, except for the distant echoes of destruction. Lieutenant Kale Morgan drifted in his pod, watching the aftermath of humanity's most decisive strike. The alien homeworld was gone, fleets scattered, and the remnants of their civilization left in chaos. Humanity had survived, retaliated, and delivered a warning no species would ever forget. From orbit, Captain Arya Voss observed the scene, her expression calm yet resolute. All missions report complete, she said. Every threat neutralized. Earth's retaliation is absolute. The galaxy knows now, humanity does not forgive, humanity does not yield. The words resonated like a decree across the void. Kale's communicator buzzed. Crew members reported minor damages, some missing personnel, but no casualties among those who had evacuated the outpost. Relief washed over him. The outpost may have been destroyed, but its sacrifice had triggered something far greater, a human storm that swept across the stars, unstoppable and precise. High Command transmitted orders to secure the remains of the alien fleets. Drones patrolled the void, ensuring no survivors could regroup. Humanity had not only retaliated, they had established control. The galaxy would think twice before challenging Earth again. Even distant civilizations, who had only observed from afar, now trembled at the name of Earth. Reports of the destruction spread rapidly, tales of warships that moved like shadows, weapons that struck with unerring precision, and strategy that anticipated every move. Humanity had transcended the perception of a single planet. It had become a force, a reckoning, a storm the galaxy could not ignore. Kale looked at the stars, black and calm again, littered with the remnants of alien ships. The humans had struck back not just for survival, but to ensure no future attack would ever threaten them again. Every officer, every soldier, every ship had played a part in sending the message. Humanity was no longer just a participant in the galaxy. It was a warning. Captain Voss turned to her crew. This victory is ours, but vigilance remains our duty. The galaxy is vast, and threats may still arise. But let this day be remembered, Earth defends itself, and Earth's retaliation is unmatched. Her voice carried the weight of centuries of preparation, resilience, and resolve. Kale felt a surge of pride. They had endured fear, loss, and overwhelming odds. Yet, humanity had prevailed. They had taken a blow and turned it into the most powerful response imaginable. The Outpost's destruction had been tragic, but it had sparked a chain reaction that redefined the galaxy's understanding of human capability. As the warship prepared to return to Earth, Kale reflected on the cost and the message. Humanity's retaliation had been total, precise, and undeniable. Civilizations across the stars would think twice before striking again. Humanity had proven it could survive, it could fight, and it could dominate. The storm had passed, but its echoes would linger for centuries. Somewhere, in the remnants of alien systems, commanders whispered fearfully of humans who could strike across light years with surgical precision. They had learned, too late, that underestimating humanity was the deadliest mistake any civilization could make. Kale exhaled slowly, looking at the calm, silent stars. The war was over, for now. The galaxy had witnessed Earth's wrath. Humanity had survived the strike, delivered retribution, and emerged as an unstoppable force. The stars belonged to no one, but they had learned this day that challenging humans came at a cost beyond imagining. And as the fleet jumped back toward Earth, the message was clear, echoing across the void. Strike at us, and the consequences will be absolute. Humanity had defended itself, and the galaxy would never forget the storm that followed.